Why do we always require somebody's company? Even when there is somebody who's lying on the side of a road, let's say an accident victim, waiting to be helped, we wonder whether we are the first one or the only one who would be getting involved. We think so many times before putting our foot forward. In such situations too, we require the company of somebody else. Why? Praveen, this is just one particular incident where it becomes obvious that we are so dependent on others. Such incidents only exemplify, bring forth to light that we are very, very dependent. But such dependence is not limited to these kind of incidents. Kindly do not think that in other general day-to-day matters of life, we act independently. The mind is dependent all the time. But that dependence is subtle, so it doesn't become obvious. But it becomes very obvious in such matters. You want to really do something and yet are unable to gather courage for it because nobody else is doing it. And then it becomes obvious. You'd be missing the point if you think that these events are special. These events are not special. These events only represent what the mind always is. Not in particular instances, always. Getting it? Look at this. You enter this hall, and if you find that everybody is sitting on the back benches, on the chairs at the end of the hall, the rear end, you'd find it quite difficult to simply come and occupy a front seat. Won't you? But if you enter an empty hall, then you won't have problems sitting on any particular chair, right? Do you see the comparison and what it brings out? You enter this hall and you find that everybody is sitting there at the back. You'll find it very difficult to sit all by yourself in the front, right? Even if the others do not say anything to you, even if they don't pass any comments, even if they are not at all bothered about you. Yet it would become very difficult for you because we are always looking for social sanction. There is hardly anything within most of us which is really independent. Even the slightest, smallest, most routine actions happen with an eye on what the others might be thinking or saying. Look at our choice of clothes. A very general matter. But very few people buy clothes purely out of their consideration for themselves. Most of us wonder, how would I look in these clothes? Now look to whom? Others. How would I look to others when I wear this? And it's such a stupid thing. The other who is looking at you surely knows that this is just a piece of clothing, a textiles product. It's not you. And yet you are so concerned. If you were to speak to a crowd, or let's say come to this podium, your anxiety levels would be proportional to the number of students, the strength of the audience in this hall. Others. What is the weight of the others? What is the mass and measure of others? And if by any chance the others are not kind to you, and just before you start speaking, somebody makes a rude comment, or somebody just laughs or giggles, then you know how difficult it becomes for us, right? Now, the fellow has not even heard you. You haven't yet started speaking. And he might be giggling out of his some personal occupation. Maybe his neighbor has just whispered a small joke to him. So his smile has nothing to do with you. But the moment you see audience smiling, you start sweating. And remember, you still haven't uttered a word. So you very well know that even if they are judging, they could not be judging what you have come there to do, because you haven't yet started doing that. Every breath that we take, every word that we utter, every step that we take is a step steeped in slavery. We do not do anything independently, just anything. It's impossible for us. I was in campus. I would see one of my batchmates keenly interested in a girl in the junior year. And all the symptoms of attraction and occupation of mind and all that happens in those years, they were all there. And I was seeing it since a few weeks. So one day I went to him and I said, "What's going on?" "It's all obvious now. Tell to me. What's going on?" He said, "No, nothing. Nothing is going on." I said, "Now, will you hide it from me? And don't you know that I know?" He said, "I'm not very sure. So let me just finalize it. And then I will reveal everything." पक्का नहीं है. I said, if it is love, then how can you not be sure about it? And if you're not sure about it, then surely it is not that. He said, no. It is quite certain, yet not fully certain. I'm trying to ascertain it. I said, I don't know what you mean, but fine, go ahead. He said, just a little bit of formality is left. Let me complete it. So after 2-3 weeks, one day he comes rushing, overflowing with happiness, bubbling. So I ask him, yes. He says, now I am fully sure. No doubts at all. Complete certainty. I said, how did that happen? Did some messenger from the heavens descend in the morning? Or you performed some litmus test or something? From where did you suddenly get so much of clarity? He said, no. I had actually just sent a few friends to her city. And they have found out her caste, her subcaste, her economic status. And gently, we have also probed her parents. And they are okay. And in between, I have been calling my parents as well. And I have found out what kind of demands they will have. Including financial demands. And the girl's family, I see, would be prepared to meet all those demands. So now I am fully certain that I am mad in love. Now I know very well that we are made for each other. It is love at first sight. It is love without sight. Even before seeing her, I knew that my soul has been thirsty only for this kind of a woman. They are, in your social language, happily married now and have a happy family. Very, very loving family. So dependent we are. We can't even love freely. Even in love, we first have to look around to seek permission. Seek permission of religion, of caste, of parents, society, the neighbor, the neighbor's dog. Everybody must agree. And if they don't agree, then we dare not go ahead. Such deep dependence. start by looking at small matters in daily life. If you want to just have a small walk in the night, do you really require to have somebody with you? And if you cannot walk by yourself, then it's not a small matter. It's a symptom of a deep disease. There were times when I was in college and I would go to watch movies by myself, alone. It was no rule for me. I could go with friends as well. But if good company wasn't available, I had no problems with simply going and watching a movie by myself. And people would wonder, how can you do this? Some would be actually horrified. You watched a movie with nobody. What? Do you go to watch a movie or do you go to watch your neighbor? What do you mean by you watched a movie with nobody? What will the somebody do? What will the somebody do? Both of us are supposed to watch the movie, right? But how difficult it is for us to even watch a movie by ourselves. Terrifying, right? In a movie theater with nobody by your side. Oh my God. Such a loner. Miserable condition. All alone. Those who cannot do these small things, being with themselves, how will they do anything significant, meaningful by themselves? You cannot watch a movie by yourself. How will you take your life decisions by yourself? And there is work. And there is a life to be lived. And there are directions to be decided. And there is love and there is marriage. Decisions upon decisions. You cannot buy a shirt without considering what auntie is going to say. How will you choose a job without considering what auntie will say? Do you say that this is a condition of great helplessness? And it's not because you love auntie that you are so dependent upon her. When you are dependent upon somebody, it is violence. You could not be loving that person. There too, the relationship is of hatred. No slave ever loves his master. How can you love somebody who has enslaved you? How can you love somebody who has taken away your freedom? So all around we are caught in a web of slavery. And a very peculiar aspect of this is that those from whom we seek sanction, they are not strangers. They are strangers as well, but mostly they are the people we claim to be intimate with. Continue with the example of the podium. When you come here on the podium and you start trembling, do you realize who is it that you are afraid of? These are not strangers sitting here. These are people you know. And some of you might be having their best friends in this crowd. And yet you find yourself shivering, trembling. That is the nature of our relationships. The closer somebody is to me, the more dependent I am on that person, and hence closeness is directly proportional to the violence in relationship. You don't feel bad when a stranger on the road says something to you. You do feel bad, but you can kind of tolerate it. But when people within your circle make a comment upon you, then your self-worth is destroyed. The world might be calling you a fatso. You can manage to ignore it. But your boyfriend comes and says, you are becoming sphere-like, rotund. You are gone. You'll collapse. And you'll start hitting the fellow. The boyfriend is gone. From where did this hatred come? It has not come from nowhere. It was always there. It only got expressed. You are always dependent on him. And when you are dependent on somebody, remember, I repeat, you cannot love that fellow. Love happens only in freedom. It's a very free bird. It does not like cages. And freedom we know not. So many of you gave these questions yesterday upon the forum. It's good I have them in front of me. I know some of you won't be able to speak here because there are now hundreds of you here. Is that not so? After every Samvaad session, we have some of you stay back and then they open up, then they speak. And I ask them, what happened in those 2 hours? Why didn't you speak then? And all that they can do is drop their heads. Unnecessarily ashamed. We didn't speak then because there were so many others present. Even in asking questions, you are dependent on others. So you cannot speak because there are others. And there are some who would speak precisely because there are others. If I speak right now, it's a good opportunity to impress a large audience. So why am I speaking? Because there are others here. We want to be we want to clearly say I. This I has become very clouded. In fact, it is nowhere to be seen. Our I really does not exist. Instead, we have a fake I, which is just a collection of images from the world. We are so full of the world that there is no I-ness left within us. The world is dominating our mind. It has totally filled us up. It's present in our very cells. The world, the world, the world. Our very sense of existence, that I am, comes from the world. And that is why, Praveen, we are so dependent and so hungry for company. We are hungry for company because we are what the world is giving to us. So if the world becomes absent, then there is a danger that we will no more be there. Who am I? Who am I? Bits and pieces collected from the world. So take the world away and do I exist? I don't. So I always need company. And I always need validation, sanction, approval. But the thing is that if everything is coming from the world, then you anyway don't exist. So it's such a poor attempt. It's such a defeated attempt. To live with an eye upon the world, to live as a function of all the forces and the voices and the faces around you, is such non-living. Most people are non-living creatures. They don't have a central crystal within them. They are just a little bit of here, a little bit of there, some kind of a potpourri, khichdi. So you interview somebody and the fellow would have written in his CV, I am proud of my leadership qualities. What's your strength? My leadership qualities. And you ask him, how do you know that you have leadership qualities? And soon you'd find him saying that, well, my friends and everybody else has been telling me that I have good leadership qualities. That's how I know I have leadership qualities. Now, this is a leader. This is a leader who knows himself to be a leader because others told him that you are leader. Now, who is leading whom? Are you leading or are you being led? There is nothing about us that is our own. And that's why we seek company. The man who has found even a trace of that I-ness will not be desperate for company. When he'll have company, he would be all right. And when he won't have company, then too he would be all right. He won't start feeling out of breath. Oh my God, half an hour to kill and nobody to talk to. Give me my phone. Where is Facebook? Or let me just call up someone and indulge in meaningless chatter. And why did I call? Because I'm so uncomfortable with myself. You don't like yourself. You are uncomfortable with yourself and you expect others to like you. You do not like your own company, right? You can't live with yourself. But you expect that others will like you. What kind of expectation is this? The best relationships are not born out of loneliness. A healthy relationship is born out of a sense of completion. It is not a parasitic relationship. I feel incomplete, you feel incomplete. So let's come together and together we will feel complete. As if two beggars coming together will become millionaires. Imagine, two beggars are begging from each other, hoping to become millionaires. That's how our relationships are. A healthy relationship says, I'm related to you in my completeness. I'm related to you precisely because there is something that I can now give. I'm not begging. And then there is no violence in that relationship. And then things like possessiveness, jealousy, insecurity, they are not there. The man who longs for company would surely be possessive, jealous, insecure, and the rest of it that goes along, the entire package. We have been trained in a way which has told us only of our shortcomings. Sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. Since birth, we have only been told what we need to acquire. That's what our teachers have been telling us, right? Now you need to learn this. Students, tomorrow you must prepare this chapter. Now you are graduating to this class. Now you are moving from bachelor's to master's program. So there is more and more to acquire. And acquisition means deficiency. So in a way, the system around us has been trying to help us, but in helping us, it has been constantly telling us of our deficiency. This is what you do not know. This is what you do not know. This is how you are inadequate. Nobody has ever told us of what we know. We have been told of what we do not have, but we have never really been told of that which we have. We have been told a lot about what we need to acquire, but nobody told us of that which we do not need to acquire. That which is centrally important, that which cannot be acquired and that which cannot be taken away. So this mind is full of thoughts of acquiring, of the world, because all acquiring happens from the world. You get from the world. Mind is dominated by the world, completely full of the world. Completely full of the world and completely full of a sense of shortcoming. There is something missing, there is something missing, there is something missing, and what is missing can be supplied by the world. So let me have this person in my life, let me have more money in my life, let me have a few more degrees in my life, let me have a better job in my life, let me have a bigger car and a bigger house in my life. All these are companies. Praveen, when you said that we always want company, company is not limited to human beings. We want something in life, which may be a person or a thing. Any object. We want it in life. We want it in life because we have been trained about all that which is missing. This is missing, that is missing. Kindly get it, otherwise you will remain incomplete. You need to find out, figure out. You are intelligent beings. Do you really desperately require all that you crave so much for? And what does this craving give you? Do you really feel good being dependent? Do you really enjoy suffering? Is frustration so necessary? Must we live like a thirsty fish? Feeling bad and sad? With occasional bursts of hope in between? And obviously, when you don't feel good about yourself, then you have a lot of hope. Hope is an indicator that things are terribly wrong. When you see that this craze for being surrounded, this craze for company, is just a heavy load on your head, then you want to give it up. Then you will say, I don't want any more of it. I'm all right. I don't want company. When you look at the small things in life and you see what it has come to, then you don't want things. I was traveling with an old acquaintance. So he tells the driver, we were in a car, he tells the driver, please switch on the radio. Now, it's my driver, so he knows a little about things. He asks him, what do you want to hear? Which particular lecture? What kind of music? He says, no, just the radio. No CD, nothing, just the radio. Driver says, all right, sir. Which channel? An AM or FM? He says, anything, just the radio. He says, sir, anything? The driver had not heard anything like this from me, ever. So the man says, just anything. Something should be on. I cannot tolerate silence. Give me something. Something should be on. Such is the depth of our disease. We cannot live in silence. We require something to be there. So some idiotic radio jockey would be just blabbering something. But that is all right. Some sound is there and that sound is giving me comfort. Oh, I'm not lonely. I'm not lonely. Somebody is there. Somebody is saying something. Something is going on. Have you noticed this? People require something to be on. And you need to be attentive to these small things. You go to houses and you find sometimes the television is on for 20 hours a day. Now the lady in the house is not even watching the TV. She's in the kitchen or busy with her miscellaneous chores. But the TV is on. You ask her, what is there in the TV? Which particular channel, which program? She won't be able to tell. But if you switch off the TV, she'll immediately say, no, switch it on, switch it on. Something must be going on. Otherwise, I feel fearful. Silence kills me. The man or woman who cannot live in silence is mentally diseased. Do you understand? Disease, dis-ease, a sense of dis-ease. The one who is not comfortable. Become attentive to these small things. And then you will see that you do not need the world to be so heavy upon you. In this realization, there is freedom from the world. Just be attentive to what you are doing 24 hours a day. You are intelligent. The moment you are attentive, you are intelligent. And in intelligence lies freedom.